My name is Celinda, and I enrolled in a few of the micros last year, and I also started teaching a few of the subjects this year. As a student of the TD microcredentials, I found it to be a completely different learning experience to anything I had enrolled in or studied in the past. I felt that the micros rewired my brain. I was introduced to a whole new way of thinking, a whole new way of looking at the world, and it really changed my approach to learning and my approach to work, but also my approach to looking at problems and opportunities in my everyday life. Another special moment of the micro was connecting with the students, particularly the last Zoom session with the other participants. We collaborated so much, even though each of us was working on their individual assessments. There was so much bouncing off of ideas, sharing of feedback, sharing of ideas, and that human-to-human connection that formed, even though we were just on Zoom online, was really special. And I'll never forget the last session. We just didn't want to, we didn't want to go offline. We didn't want to end that Zoom. So I guess whenever I have a challenge, when I start to get into a panic about how to approach it, when I'm feeling stuck, I'm comforted by the fact that I can go back to that toolkit, and I literally go back to my assessment, to my notes, and I start to use many of the methods and the techniques that worked for me in my assessment and apply them to the new situation. So it's given me confidence to break down any new problem that I come across and that I need to work on. The most challenging thing about the micro-credentials was knowing if you were on the right track. It was so open-ended, and it was like that by design, but we're not used to that as students. I certainly wasn't used to that, and I wasn't sure I was on the right track. And it was, I guess, the trust that I had in the design of the course, in the pedagogy, in the learning framework, that gave me the confidence to let go of that fear and just go with the flow. And in going with the flow, I was able to achieve so much more than I would have in a context that was a lot more prescribed. I thought it was going to be a lot more challenging to balance my studies with my other commitments. So I have a full-time job, I have 3 children, but I was actually quite surprised. And I think what was helpful, and actually what I guess was encouraging, was the possibility of doing the micros and the length of the micros, which is only 5 weeks. I thought that was quite doable. It was just 5 weeks perhaps of intense work, and then it would end, and I could take a breath and perhaps start a new one if I wanted to. It worked well for me because I would mainly use the weekends to get the work done from the module, and the Zooms are in the evening, just one evening a week. So it was really, I thought it was really quite doable. The other advantage is that you can take it as, you can go as deep as you want to, you can go as deep as you need to. So in moments when I had more time, I would put a lot more hours and go much deeper in my inquiry. And there were other times when I had to, I wanted to go deeper, but, due to life, I had to stop it there and be happy at that point. But overall, I thought it really worked well. It didn't interfere with my work at all. The advice that I'd give to someone who is wishing to enroll in one of these micro-credentials is really to trust the process. It is such a different subject that it may look scary at first and you may feel lost at first, but just trust the process, go on the journey, and take note of your insights, because there are going to be so many, and you will want to go back to them once you finish so that you can continue applying the learning to your work and just to your everyday life. I felt as a student that we were working as a team, and the same thing applies now that I'm teaching the course. I feel that the academics and the participants are part of a team. And similarly to what I experienced as a student, I thoroughly enjoy working with participants from different professional contexts, but in particular, it's fascinating to look into their very different brains and to listen to their thinking, to observe the way they see the world, and to have access to their aha moments is just amazing. It has given me confidence. I've got a new job out of it. It's given me the confidence to go out there and to present myself in a different way, because I've seen a different side of myself. As a student and as a co-teacher, I feel so privileged. I've learned so much from her design, so much from her resources, and so much now from her thinking, from her questions, from the challenges she gives me to work on this. I am so lucky. I'm so lucky.